Good evening, everyone. We are back with another Disney review, continuing our Disney retrospective, number 53. This was 2014's Big Hero 6. It is the first Disney product, first Disney animated classic, I should say, to be based on a Marvel property. The first and only so far, but I'm sure that will change in the future.
What year was it?
I've
50. What year was it 53 years ago?
What?
What
Oh
year
God!
was
Oh God! The math! The math! Oh no! Hang
I'm
on.
trying to work it out.
Hang on. I should know this. Fuck me. The fact that I can't even do this in my head is ridiculous. Everyone's going to witness just how bad at maths I am. What was 53 years ago, did you say?
Yeah.
It was 1971.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That was just a random thing.
There we go.
I just wondered.
So we've already got a comment from Brian Emery. He says, I love this movie. It's so cool. And favorite song is Immortals by Fall Out Boy. It is a pretty good song. It is a pretty good credit song to that
No,
one.
it's
I'll
not.
also.
No, it's not. Fall Out Boy have never done a good song in their life.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not like a fan of them at all, but like it's a catchy enough song for the credits, I suppose. With a lot of
Do you
these
know
Disney
what else
films,
is catchy? Gonorrhea.
yes,
The catchy isn't always good.
But yeah, Big Hero 6, guys. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say on this one. I really hoped that I would. This is the second time that I have watched this film. I watched it. Oh, I didn't watch it when it came out at the cinema. It would have been whenever I bought all of these DVDs at some point, and I was just watching through some of them. So it didn't really have an impact on me when I watched it. And for all intents and purposes, rewatching this again for this review was almost like watching it for the first time. There was a lot I didn't remember. And the bits that I thought I remembered, it turns out I was completely wrong about when I rewatched it. I thought the villain of the film was someone different. So it was actually kind of a surprise for me when it was revealed. But this was the winner of the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature Film at the 87th Academy Awards. So a lot of people like this one. It made a whole lot of money as well, 165 mil budget, and made just over 650 mil. So I'm very surprised that. Well, I was going to say I'm surprised that we haven't had a sequel to this one. Out of any of the Disney animated classics of recent years, it seems like this would be one that's almost like rife for a sequel and one that you could potentially do a lot with. But they kind of have, in a way. This has spawned many, many TV series. Sequel TV series, which I wasn't even aware about. That I wasn't even aware that they were a thing. So apparently there was a long-running TV show which continues the story of the film, which aired between 2017 and 2021. And then there were two short series called Baymax Dreams, and then apparently another show called Baymax, which came out in 2022. So still fairly recent that they're still pushing this thing. I
don't
think
think
you.
it's.
Go on,
I
sorry.
don't think it's worthy of a sequel. I mean, to be fair, I have ideas what a sequel could be, but I don't think it's like it's done. It's not. It's nothing special.
Well, I don't know much about the actual property itself. As I mentioned, this is based on a very, very obscure Marvel property, Marvel Comics series of the same name. This is almost a complete overhaul of that. It's very, very loosely based on that comic series. And it was Bob Iger's idea, the CEO of Disney, because they acquired Marvel in 2009, and he said maybe we should look at adapting some lesser known Marvel properties. And a lot of the people of Marvel Studios were working with Disney on this film. But they pretty much gave them complete creative license to come up with their own story and own things. So as far as I'm aware, they use characters and concepts and some of the similar names, but the story is more or less brand new, and a lot of the other characters, I think, as well. I don't know how I feel about. Well, I do know how I feel, actually. That was a loaded question. I do know how I feel about Disney animated classics, Disney Animated Studios adapting Marvel properties. I don't like it. I feel like Marvel should be its own thing, and if Marvel Studios want to produce a Big Hero 6 franchise, then hey, go for it. I don't like the idea of Disney doing that. When I look back at sort of like the legacy of Disney, they do base a lot of things on novels and a lot of traditional fairy tales and whatnot. That to me is when Disney excels the most. And some could argue, well, like a comic book or a graphic novel or whatever is just another written form of something. So why can't Disney produce
Well, the thing
something
is,
that's
though,
Marvel?
it feels like again anything can be a Disney classic. There's no limits. It's kind of one of those of like, remember when Disney classic used to mean something? We said this, I think the first time we said
We've
it was The
said it a lot.
Wild.
Yeah, we've said it a lot,
Yeah, but I
haven't
think
we,
the first time
recently?
we said it was The Wild, and it again feels kind of like that in the sense of it's not really a Disney classic. It's loosely based on a Marvel property, but it's the same name.
Hmm.
You know, it's the same setting. It's the same. It's literally like this has been. I know it's been done in the sense of like you've got like Snow White was already a thing. Like I understand these things, but like it's a comic book. It's Marvel. It's something that they acquired. Basically, it's them just taking. It's like if they made a cartoon Star Wars movie. You know what I mean? Made it a Disney classic. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's not like they're adapting their, their own version of something. It feels like they're just because Marvel is part of Disney now. It feels like they've just gone. All right, we'll make this one a Disney classic. Marvel's doing it, but they're just going to go. Can we make it Disney classic? Yeah, sure. And that's
Mm.
what it feels like. There's no real reason for it to be a Disney classic, in my opinion.
Well, it's still Disney Animation Studios at the forefront, so it is a classic, made by that animation studio. But just that decision to do a Marvel one, it feels like,
Yeah, but
oh, in our ever increasing empire of acquiring different studios and different properties, oh, we've
yeah,
got
but
Marvel
like
now. Let's do something with that.
yeah, but the guitar solo in "Beat It" was Eddie Van Halen. Does that make it a Van Halen song?
It's fair.
Yeah.
What confuses me the most, though, about this idea is so Bob Iger comes in and says, right, we're going to adapt something that's Marvel related. But then they want to try and they want to try and come up with a concept that's so new and fresh that it's basically only Marvel related in name only, and some like character names here and there. The story is basically brand new, and the look and feel of everything is almost completely divorced from the original comic book. And this kind of annoys me as well. The head of story, who actually does the voice of Yama in the movie as well, he only read a few issues of the comic book, and the main screenwriter of it never read a single comic book, never read a single comic from the Big Hero 6 line. Well, I really hate that, and you often get that quite a lot actually with a lot of the Marvel movies that get adapted in comic books. You'll always have someone who goes like, "Oh, I never read the comics. I wanted my own take on it, completely divorced from anything that's come before. I didn't want to be influenced by this, or this." I'm like, well, why are you adapting this property then? If you want it so new and fresh that it pretty much doesn't resemble the thing that you're basing it on, why base it on that thing in the first place at all? Do you know what I mean? It's
Mm.
I don't get that thought process really.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It just yeah, I don't like when that happens because you get so many things, and then you look at it. Sometimes you're like, I can see that. I
Mm.
can see that you've not read a single one. I understand the idea of I wanted to make it my own, but I feel like to make something your own, you've still got to understand the characters. You've still got to understand the world that you're
Mm.
delving into, because then that's how you make it your own. Like you understand like a certain character gets sad on these certain things, or like this is what pushes this character's emotions. You can make your own story, but then if you're like, well, we want to loosely adapt it, we want to keep this character the same, or you can choose what you want to do rather than just go, oh, okay, we'll just do our own thing, because
Hmm.
then it will feel either nothing like it or exactly the same, or I think you need to do your research.
Hmm. That being said, I mean this movie didn't really land with me the second time, but there are some aspects of this movie that I do like. I think the strongest thing for me with this film is, at the forefront what it should be, the relationship between Hero and his robot Baymax. I think that relationship at the core is very strong. I like the character of Baymax. I love the design as well. It's a very, very
Michelin
simple
Man.
design. Yeah, you were saying like Michelin Man or Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. They knew they wanted a design for a character that was like the equivalent of a huggable robot, something that was kind of cutesy that you could imagine hugging. And when they were doing their research for it, they went to various sort of like robotics labs, and they found this robotic arm that was being produced that was made of vinyl. I think it was like sort of inflatable vinyl. And when they saw that, they were like, right, we've got our idea for what this robot's going to look like.
Wouldn't you just like watch Ghostbusters and go that? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, it's
it seems a
entirely
bit
possible. Yeah.
I always find these things weird. Like, it does seem excessive, and I understand some of these things are probably true, but I can guarantee so many of these stories aren't true as well, because you see it so often. We're like, oh, we went to like a lab to find this. It's like, I watched Ghostbusters once and saw the same thing. I don't think you had to do that much research. It kind of sometimes feels like, when you're a kid, and because we had it before. I think I was at school, and then our English teacher was off. We watched a video, whatever, and then he was like, "Oh, did you guys Thingy show you this video yesterday?" And we were like, "Oh no!" So we had to watch it again to kind of just to not do the lesson. It feels like that, in the sense of like, "Oh, we'll spend this money. We'll go to a research lab." It's like, you didn't need to. It's like, yeah, but we just want to like avoid work. It
Mhm.
feels like that.
Yeah. But that being said, like, I do like the design of the character, and if you're looking at sort of the modern Disney films, I think Baymax is a classic Disney character. I say that, I know he's a Marvel character, but you know what I mean. It reminds me of stuff like the design of the genie, how they were a lot of the shapes of the characters in Aladdin. Jafar's that very slender kind of snake-like figure with the jawline and everything. How he was animated, very angular with the spiked shoulder pads. With the genie, they wanted that kind of cutesy, huggable thing probably again, and he's very spherical. You got the head and like the round body and everything, and it reminds me of this. It's a very, very simple design for Baymax, but it's one that I think is really effective and I think works. He works as that cutesy kind of slapsticky part where he's trying to smuggle him into the home and everything towards the beginning of the film. But when you slap a whole bunch of armor on him, he is tall, he is big, he is imposing, and he has all of these features that when he's in the armor, he does look intimidating as well. I love that part where he basically puts his like kill mode, and when he learns that who the villain is and resulted in his brother's death and everything, he switches the chip in
Yeah,
Baymax, and then he goes like fucking evil. Red is always evil. The eyes go red, and there's one shot in particular where the villain is kind of scrambling away, and Baymax just kind of like peers around the corner, and all you see are like his eyes and this like hulking silhouette as it's stalking him and trying to kill him. So yeah, I thought they nailed that whole aspect to it. And there's a lot of good stories you can tell with the robot as well. I went to see one today, The Wild Robot, which was one of the most fucking wholesome movies I've ever seen in my life. But it was reminding me of stuff, like Iron Giant. There's moments in that film where he turns evil for a split second, but he's really got a heart of gold and he's looking out for his kid. So I thought they nailed that aspect to it. That the heart was in the right place with this one, I think.
better than Wally.
Wally's quite controversial for me because I love the first act when there's no dialogue and it's all visual, and you've got Wally living his day to
Yeah,
day. We get everything we need to from his personality. It's almost like Wally would make a fantastic short film. And when
yeah.
Eva shows up and that relationship there, love all of that. As soon as they get on the space rocket and you've got like the fat humans and the I'm like, I'm done. It
Yeah,
just
I
loses
was
its steam.
I was the same. I thought, oh, okay, this is great. It was different. It was, like you say, you got all the personality from no dialogue. And I was like, oh, okay. And I felt like we just lost everything that we liked.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
and
the
to
same.
be honest, I'm kind of the same with Up as well. Now, I only watched that film once when it came out, but the first 10 minutes is always lauded, right, as one of the biggest tear
I've
jerkers in.
I've never seen Up.
The first 10 minutes should be a short film. It's phenomenal visual storytelling with no
That's why I've
dialogue.
never seen it. Everyone raves about it, and I'm like, okay. But it's been many years now, and I'm
For
like,
me, it's like
wait.
the opening scene. The first 10 minutes, fucking outstanding. Give them an Oscar for best short film. After that, yeah, it kind of trails off when people start talking and the plot kicks in. Maybe I need to watch it again. It's been a while since I watched it. I think, or is it 2009 that came out, wasn't it? So yeah, I watched it the once and haven't watched it since then. So it's been a long time. Brian says the TV show was good. This is referring to Big Hero 6. The TV show was good. I think Disney should bring back San Francisco for Kingdom Hearts 4. Yeah, I was going to say that is a world, isn't it, in Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah, it's probably one of the best worlds. I'd say Pirates of the Caribbean is the best because it's very Assassin's Creed. You get to go underwater, look for treasure. You get to like shoot down like pirate ships and stuff. But yeah, San Francisco is probably one of the best, one of the top ones because it's so open world. It's like you go to the top of the buildings. There's Heartless on the top of the buildings. There's Like you can obviously free fall in the game. It's like there's NPCs everywhere in the daytime. There's a day and night cycle on it. Yeah, that's probably one of the best ones in it. So I would agree, bring that back. It's a great one to explore.
This kind of, I mean, I haven't played that game. I still need to. Maybe this Christmas. Who knows? When I actually have some time off, maybe I'll get to that game. I probably won't, but maybe.
Christmas.
I'm holding out hope. But another thing that I really like about this film, and I'm sure it translates very, very well into Kingdom Hearts as well, is the city, is the environment, San Francisco. I
Yes.
really love this world that we're in. That different blend of Eastern and Western culture. I thought they absolutely nailed that completely. And like scenes, I've used it as the background, but the bit where Baymax is flying through the city, and we really get the scope of it, and you get these beautiful visuals as well. There's so many like flight sequences in animated films that just absolutely blow me away every single time, and this is easily one of them. I love that shot where they're sat on top of the blimp and just kind of admiring the sunset. Love that. And apparently, I can only imagine how difficult it was for the animation team as well. They built basically a simulation of the entire city, which apparently contained over 83,000 buildings and 100,000 vehicles, and they had 700 distinctive character models walking around, various different software programs to create all these things, 250,000 trees with a software called Bonsai. They developed a new one for this called Hyperion, which allowed better sort of lighting shining through objects, especially Baymax, with him being like a vinyl material. It meant he could react to the lighting in a very realistic way. It's incredible stuff, so I can't remember what other films came out that year for to be nominated for best animated feature, but the animation is great. It's got a very unique visual style to it. It does kind of remind me perhaps of like Pixar. Like Incredibles is probably the go-to comparison because they're both superhero properties, but it kind of does remind me of that. And even like the city itself, with a similar kind of influence in that film, but Blade Runner, which itself is that blend of Western and Eastern culture together. And I think it's a great name. I think the name's a bit clunky, San Francisco. I think it doesn't really flow off the tongue very well. They could have come up with a more inspired name.
I like the name.
Is that from the comic book, do you think? Is that setting from the comic book?
I thought it was because I don't know. I've never read it, but I swear I picked it up once, but it might have just been because I knew the movie and I saw it and I was like, oh, San Francisco. I like the name though. And I'm ashamed to admit, when I first saw it, it didn't clock straight away. I was like, man, that's the bridge from it. I was like, it's kind of like that. And I was like, oh, that's yeah. So it's. I remember when I first watched it, it did take me till probably like an hour after the movie to realize why that was actually the name. But I like the name. I thought it does. I mean, it might not roll off the tongue completely, but it's a cool name.
I think my favorite bit of animation though comes at the very, very end of the film, where they go into the portal, and it's kind of like this wormhole and this swirling vortex of colors. It almost looks like a watercolor painting or something. Loads of different animation styles to it. And that scene did get to me, I must admit. Now with this film, it's weird because I probably won't rush back to watch this film ever again. I won't say ever, but certainly not for a long time. There's just something about it that doesn't land. Maybe it's the fact that I keep thinking back to the pantheon of other Disney animated classics, and this is part of that line. And to me, this is like a fine animated film. It doesn't really blow me away. It doesn't it's not particularly outstanding to me. I don't know whether that's down to the script or the humor type or the characters. I don't know. There's something that disconnects me from it, from getting completely invested in it. But by the end, because I do love that relationship, between Hero and Baymax, the ending did get to me. But a lot of these films, I'm like, I want them to just have the balls to just kill off the character at the end. I was like, would it be better if Baymax actually did completely sacrifice himself at the end, and he didn't get another Baymax just because we need that happy ending?
Well,
with that,
to be fair, I think Baymax wasn't the smartest thing in the world. I mean, he was, but like I think he had his moments, and I think what Baymax should have done, he should have had a self-destruct option. He should have thought that was the best idea, blown himself up, and the whole of San Francisco should have gone down with him, and then the credits would roll. That should have been the thing. So I think that would have been a better ending.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, there were moments. I'm not going to give anything away because it isn't a review for that, but there were moments in The Wild Robot where I felt they could have done bits like that. I love The Wild Robot. To me, there's one part of the film that felt like the emotional ending of the film, and I thought it would be a great short film, maybe like an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. And to me, that's where the film felt like it was ending. And then it went on a bit longer and we continued the story, and I was like, this is still fine, this is still great. And then there was another part where I thought the film was going to end, and then it carried on some more, and it went for sort of like a happier ending when I thought maybe it could have gone for something a little bit more impactful. But it's still a phenomenal film, and if that doesn't win Best Animated Feature this year at the Academy Awards, I'm going to be highly upset. Moana 2 looks great, but I think it's nice if a different animation company.
It could be better.
I very much doubt it.
Oh yeah, me too.
The Wild Robot's phenomenal. Like, just in terms of the animation, I haven't seen something that dazzlingly beautiful in a long time with animation. Carl says, "Up is amazing. The end message of the film always gets me." As I say, it is one that I do need to go back to, but the only thing that I remember about it is the intro. In all honesty,
Up just about a guy that attaches balloons to his house so he can fly?
But yeah, well, it is if you're boiling it down to its most simple form, yeah. But it's why he's doing that, which all stems from the opening 10 minutes, which I don't want to spoil for you because you need to watch that.
Doesn't like his wife die and then like he wants to get closer to her or some shit?
Well, it goes through like their entire life story together, from when they were childhood sweethearts to marriage to them growing old together and him dying.
How unrealistic!
But it's that
like
they
the balloons flying a house. I get, but the childhood sweethearts until you that's just not like
that's the kind of shit that Disney teaches you, man. You know.
Yeah.
But it's they had this whole idea of a future of like adventuring and planning all these holidays and epic adventures, and it never quite went that way because life kind of hit them in the ass.
Well,
so this is like his
suck it up and realize life is shit.
And this is like his adventure, not just for himself, but also in memory of his wife. That's kind of the idea behind it. Carl says, Big Hero 6 was the first film I took my nephews to see at the cinema, and whenever they're leaving, we always do the handshake and la even to this day. Oh, that's amazing, man. That's cool. I do like that as a sweet moment.
That's in Kingdom Hearts as well.
Yeah.
But Baymax teaches it to Sora. Sora's the one that gets really confused.
So in terms of like characters with this, then where do we go with this review? Because already I feel like I've kind of said everything I need to say.
Fred, he's great.
Oh, TJ Miller. See, we're gonna differ on that. I hate TJ Miller.
Yeah, but I like Fred. He was cool. He was a cool character. I know he's the comic relief one, but he's fun. I think he was just the right level of he's great. I liked him.
I like the post-credit scene. That was very fun, which apparently was a last-minute decision. Did you watch the post-credit scene?
Not this time. I swear I've seen it, but not this time round.
So apparently
I didn't remember it happening.
It was a very, very last-minute decision. So the film came out in November. I think Disney always tend to go for that like October, November release, don't they? And it wasn't until I think it was like the May or the June that they decided to add this scene in because they thought, oh shit, we're doing a Marvel property, and Marvel always do the post-credit scene. Like, we better get one in there. But it goes back to Fred in his mansion and he's looking at the portrait of his father, and then his father shows up, played by Stan Lee. And I thought, Stan Lee always used to get a cameo in all of the Marvel films.
I'm wondering if I've ever actually seen this post-credit scene.
And it turns out that Stan Lee, his dad is also like a secret superhero. He's got like a whole little Batcave thing with like a costume and whatnot. And then he pulls out like his superhero pants in his Stan Lee voice, and he goes, "I wear them front, I wear them back, I wear them front and back." Whatever Fred said earlier in the film. Is like, son, we have a lot to catch up on. And then it ends. I was like, that's cool. You got Stan Lee in there. I like that.
It's cool, but he shouldn't be in a Disney movie.
Well, yeah. But I mean, if you're doing a Marvel property, then it's that dude was like
Disney
the heart.
Classic, then, is it?
I know. But that dude was the heart and soul of Marvel. And look what's happened to Marvel now.
Look what's happened to Disney now.
Yes.
It's almost to the point where like it got announced as a Kingdom Hearts 3 world, and I did think like, but it's a Marvel thing. But the difference I think is because Disney's already made their bed and gone, oh, it's a Disney classic. It's like Kingdom Hearts can kind of do it because of that, because Disney's already made that point, but Disney shouldn't have made that point anyway.
Mhm.
So I was a little bit like, really? But I also guess, I mean, I know we're not going to get Spider-Man and shit in Kingdom Hearts, which is fucking great because I would hate to get actual Marvel stuff in Kingdom Hearts. That would ruin it. But I think this was also Disney's way of being like, we want Marvel in Kingdom Hearts. Let's put this in there. I think,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of happy that that's like, okay, that's all good. Just stop. Don't put Star Wars in Kingdom Hearts. That'll make me
Mhm.
cry. Especially considering it'll just be like, it'll be Rey and she'll be the center of attention of like, no, it's not. This isn't Star Wars. This is just a random hobo girl that we don't care about.
Well, there's moments in Kingdom Hearts 2. You have the gummy missions. There's a mission where you essentially fly into the Death Star and blow
Yeah,
it up.
but that was loosely based on, that was loosely kind of like, this is kind of, and Disney and Star Wars weren't a thing then.
Zemnas fights with lightsabers as well
Yeah,
at the end.
but the thing is, that was a loosely kind of like, look, this was kind of cool.
Now it's
And Disney
official.
Disney, yeah, exactly. They weren't a
Mhm.
thing, but now they're a thing. Star Wars is shit.
Yeah.
Star Wars was good for 6 movies, and then Disney ruined it. So now
Yeah.
it'd just be awful. It'd be like, let's put in a random hobo girl that no one cares about. Let's put in Finn
It'd be
because
Rey, because as they were quoted from
Exactly.
a couple of days ago, Rey is the most valuable character asset we have from Star Wars
Isn't
at the
that?
moment.
Do you know what? I remember I saw that and I was like, that kind of shits all over like all these characters that are amazing. And I was like, why?
Literally every other character from the OT is more important than
I
Rey.
prefer Yaddle.
Yeah, yeah.
She
So
does more in her. How long is she in it?
she's in Phantom Menace. That was it, wasn't it, in the background? But
Yeah.
they did a lot of stuff. The Yaddle was in
I
games,
know
and
more about Yaddle than I do about Rey. She's supposed to have a yellow lightsaber. Fucking Star Wars, Lego Star Wars ruining it, giving her a green one. That really pissed me off.
oh, did they give her a green one in it?
Yeah, I was like, hang on, it's yellow.
Oh, that's strange.
Yeah, and they gave Rey a yellow one. I'm like, we don't care about that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's all fucked. It's all
Yes.
fucked. So you mentioned he's your favorite character. Well, let's talk about the main character then. So we're introduced to Hero and his brother as well. I thought that relationship was pretty sweet. I like how they built that up at the beginning of the film. Apparently, originally in the early concepts of the film, Baymax wasn't going to be introduced into the film until much, much later, which I can't even comprehend the idea of that. That would be so weird. And then they kind of like bumped him up to the first act where he's introduced, which is perfect because then you have the whole film to develop that relationship between the two, and how Baymax is sort of the living, I say living, is a robot, but the living embodiment of his brother. You know, like that parting gift, that the last sort of remnant of his brother and his memories and everything. Which is like the emotional crux of the film. So I do actually like the protagonist of this film, and that relationship with Baymax is very strong, and by proxy his brother as well. Though it's quite ballsy killing the brother off, but then I thought, well, it is kind of Disney, isn't it? If you ain't killing the parents off, you've got to kill the person, the familial ties, I suppose.
Yeah,
So,
like, yeah. What happened to Mufasa?
well, he's getting his own movie this Christmas, isn't he?
No,
Just
he's
the
not. It's
film
not
we
happening.
always wanted.
We're in denial. It's not happening. I bet they're
Yeah,
also
yeah.
like, it's the most anticipated thing. It's like, no one asked for it. No one cares.
Do you ever watch The Lion King and just go, you know what? I've always wanted to see a prequel movie about Mufasa. That's what I've always
I
wanted to
wanted
watch.
to see a prequel movie about Zazu. That's what I want. Actually,
But
no,
with
I want
Rowan
a
Atkinson.
Rafiki movie. That's what we want.
Oh, he's in this.
No,
He's
but
in
we
this
want
new
a
one.
movie, Rafiki the Wise. That's what we want. His rise to Rafikiness.
You ever hear the tragedy of Rafiki the Wise?
Yeah, I think that would be such a better movie.
Follow-up question about this. Out of all the superheroes we have in this, so you've got like Go-Go Tamago, you got Wasabi, Honey Lemon. Which out of all the powers that these characters have, which one would you rather go for? Which character's powers?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
So let's run them down. You've got I mean, Hero, he just kind of has the flight suit, doesn't he? With some of the tech, he's kind
Yeah,
of like Iron Man, I
his
suppose.
was the least interesting to me. I know that.
Go Tamago has those discs that gives her like super speed, and she can kind of cut through them. Wasabi has the blades, doesn't he? The like the arms, the plasma arms. What did Honey Lemon do again? She's like a chemist, isn't she? She
Does she have her little things and she moves really fast and she has like the little balls that she has?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
See, because I liked hers, but I the thing is, I'm torn because I like like Wasabi's like fucking thingy.
Mhm.
I don't know how you describe him other than saying blades, because there's a thing that it reminds me of. But
Yeah.
I don't know, his karate chop fucking like you know what I mean. I love that. I thought that would be so cool. But what's her name? The black haired girl again.
Go Tamago, the
Yeah,
super speed. Yeah, hers are
but
my favorite.
I thought she looked the coolest.
Yeah.
I thought like because it's very, I mean, like Sonic the Hedgehog kind of, and I just thought that was so cool. But the blades, I don't know. I would want those two together. I don't know if I was gonna choose any of them. To be fair, I'd probably go for the blades. I would go for Wasabi's blades.
Mhm.
Because I think that would have more. I'd be able to do more with that. Whereas if I could go fast, it's like cool. I can run fast. Like I guess, yeah. I think there's more I could do. I'd pick Wasabi.
But Heroes like Flight would be amazing as well, but I feel like the novelty of that would wear off after a while. It's like, oh, I can fly, great, but I can't really do anything else. With that super speed, like it can cut through things, you can go super fast. So what's the point of flying? You can just go super fast,
Yeah, I
So
mean, if you could go super fast, you could just go up like Sonic and just go woo into the sky.
sorry, I just saw this comment real quick pertaining to what we were saying about Star Wars a second ago. Carl was saying, I was looking on the online Disney store today, and in the Star Wars section, they're only selling merchandise for episodes 1 to 6. Just made me laugh. Even they aren't recognizing the sequel trilogy. That's fucking brilliant. Yeah, so did you hear about the Ray movie? So they were going to be doing that Ray movie in 2026 with oh god, Omi Chibe Chinoy or whatever the fuck her name is, the activist who was going to be directing that film. They didn't have a script for it, and all of the screenwriters were dropping out of it. So they've cancelled that movie. They've removed it from the 2026 calendar and replaced it with Ice Age 6. So Ice Age 6 has taken the place
Oh, is
as
that
what
what's happened? Have they
that
actually
Ray movie
replaced
would have
it?
been. Yeah, but what's now they're saying they're going to be doing a Ray trilogy, which they're undecided whether they're going to be calling it episodes 10, 11, and 10, 11, and 12, or whether it's going to be the equivalent of, but they're not actually going to officially name it episode numbers. So
But
I just
why?
feel like that's another
Episode
trilogy that's
10,
never going to
11,
happen.
and 12 should be a sequel to like an actual, but not just a sequel. The whole thing should be the same story. That's what the point in 1, 2, 3, 4. Do they not understand that yet? They didn't understand that with 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, I know. Well, even if that film does get made, there are going to be so many fucking Ray action figures that are just in landfill, that just aren't going to get sold in the bargain bin at Jeff's Toys, Smith's Toys.
Do
Yeah,
you know what they should have done? And this would sell so much better. They do that. They make a Ray movie, and then they make all these Ray dolls, and there's like Ray the housewife and shit like that, like proper like put her in the kitchen and like I think that would have sold. That would sell very very well. But they're not going to
wonder,
do that, are they?
wonder if Ray makes a good sandwich. I will say that bread though in the Force Awakens looked fucking delicious. You know that like dehydrated bread. She sort of like puts like a bit of water on it and pats it, and then it inflates into like a little crispy
Yeah,
bread
but what
roll.
looked better, that or the cheeseburger in Spy Kids?
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Or the dehydrated pizza in Back to the Future 2. That looked good as well.
Yeah. Imagine we
Uh,
could probably do that if we tried, but I
I
don't
will
think
get there. We're
they've
not
not gone
far
down
away.
that route yet. They will.
Let's what dude, what else can we talk about this film? Let's talk about the villain. Let's talk
Well,
about the villain for
let's
a
talk
second.
about the music. Well, there isn't any, so there you go. That was done.
I do like the score. The score worked for me. Hit all the
Yeah,
emotional beats.
yes, it does. It serves its purpose. I don't. Again, there's nothing that stands out.
Yeah, not
The
particularly
weird thing
memorable.
with this movie is I've seen it many times because my ex was obsessed with it, and I think it grew on me because of that. It was one of those when you've just seen it so many times. It's like, yeah, it's kind of cool. which didn't happen for How to Train Your Dragon because she did exactly the same with that, and it's still a shit movie.
Oh no, I like that. Have you seen that's getting a live action version?
Yeah,
Have
with
you seen the? Have you
black
seen the?
people instead
Yeah,
of
have you seen the
Nordic. It
recast?
was. It made no sense to me. But How to Train Your Dragon 2, that was a good movie. The second one was good. The
I
first one was
enjoyed the
shit.
second one. The third one was shit.
I've not seen the third one, but the second one was awesome because I went to the cinema to see that, and my ex again dragged me there. And I was like, "Ah, this is shit." I didn't like him, and I was like, "Do you know what? That was actually a good movie." But the first one was just not great. I wouldn't say it was shit, but just wasn't really great.
I really like the first one. I like the second one though. To be fair, they definitely like up the stakes in the second one, but the third one really let me down. I went to the cinema to see that third one actually, and it just it didn't land for me.
I still don't understand what. Well, I mean, I do understand 'cause it's Disney and they're idiots, but like they're making a sequel with black people, and it's like, but they're Norwegian.
That's DreamWorks though, isn't it? It's DreamWorks that did How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh shit, yeah, it is, but it's still a woke. It's still bollocks.
Yeah, isn't it just like an absolute bitch slap to like Scandinavian history?
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine when it's white people, but
exactly like it is. It's such a like because if they were Africans, they wouldn't make them white.
No, I know.
And it's like, are people not allowed to be white anymore?
No, we're not. We're not.
It's so I don't know. It's just a shit world, isn't it?
They've released one of the first images from it though, and it's the bit where Hiccup sort of really anxiously touching Toothless's nose when he's like ready for him to attack, and the design of the dragon is exactly the fucking same as the animated film. Exactly, he's got the same sort of like puppy dog eyes and like the hedge, everything. It's identical, and everyone was saying like, "Oh, I love the design of the dragon. It looks exactly like the original film and the shot and everything." I was like, "Then what is the fucking point in remaking it if you're going to do exactly the same thing, shot for shot, and make what is the fucking point? There is nothing wrong with How to Train Your Dragon. Why are we remaking that shit? It pisses me the fuck off. And if this is going to be a new trend now, because Disney have been doing this shit for a good few years now, remaking all of their previous classics and just completely running them into the ground with live action. But now if fucking DreamWorks are going to do it, what, we're going to have like a live action Shrek? We're going to have a fucking like live action Madagascar? Where are we going to end? Fuck me.
Well, how bad is Shrek 5 going to be?
Well, it can't be as bad as Shrek 3 and 4, can it?
But the thing is, you can't. Like, they're going to wokeify Shrek, and that's just going to, like... I mean, there were only 2 Shrek movies anyway, so...
Agreed.
Like, I mean, I've not seen 4, and I will watch it one day, because I've heard it's better than 3, and I know that's not saying much, but I've heard things of people being like, yeah, no, it is better, and some people... There are a few people that have said it's worth watching, so... I might, but the first and second were just great, so I don't want to shit on that. And 3 kind of did, and I'm glad I kind of erased it from memory. I remember Rumpelstiltskin and them getting on. What is Rumpelstiltskin, wasn't it?
That's in the fourth one. Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, who was in the? No, it was Prince Arthur.
It's just Prince Charming, I think, in the third one again.
No, I think it's Prince Arthur, isn't it? Little kid.
Yeah, that's Justin Timberlake playing him, isn't it? But he's not the villain.
No, it's not. But I think isn't Prince Arthur in it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That's what I'm on about. It's with the. I don't remember anything else. I just remember them, and then they get on a boat, and then at the end of the movie, you see those things of like Shrek has kids, and it kind of ends. And I was like, that was a shit film. Never watched the 4th one. So 1 and 2 were fucking phenomenal, and that's it.
It's just the writing isn't there in 3 and 4, isn't it? I never did see that second Puss in Boots movie. I've heard, was it The Last Wish or something? I heard that was really good, but I never watched it.
I only watched half of the first one. So
first one's just average, like bang average for me.
Is it?
The first Puss in Boots one, yeah.
Yeah, I might watch the second one, but Puss in Boots was one of my favorite characters as well. Puss in Boots was so cool. So it'll be sad if it's shit.
It's annoying. Well, I guess it's given the Friday the 13th treatment. Was it Friday the 13th is part 5 called The Final Chapter or something? And they ended up making 10 of them. Then we had Shrek Forever After the Final Chapter, and now we've got Shrek 5 coming out.
But what about Saw?
Oh yeah, Saw 7 was the final chapter,
and now we're on Saw 52.
Saw 10. We've got Saw 11 coming out next year. Bring it on. The hype train.
Well, that thing is, that's still one of my favorite jokes that was in 2.5 Men, where it was like they went forward like however many years, and it was just set in the future for like 5 minutes. And they're at the cinema, and you saw like 57, and I was like, that's funny because it will be a thing.
Let's go. Let's fucking go, man. I'm ready. I'll be there for it. As long as they keep making them, I'll be there.
Saw 3 was the end. That was it.
No. We had a lot of good ones after that.
Did we?
Four's okay.
4's average.
5, I really like the flashbacks too, but the actual film itself, not great. 6 is legitimately like my second favorite Saw film out of the
Which
entire
one's
franchise.
the one with the competition? Is it 6?
What do you mean the competition?
Like where they're all in like the traps and they have like whoever loses in the trap, whoever gets out last dies, and then the next room there's 4 left. Then in the next room there's 3 of them, and then
I'm
there's
pretty sure that's Saw 5 you're talking about there.
Because that one I thought was okay. I thought that one was all right, but that was just because it was a competition. I thought it was a cool idea, but yeah, 3 was the end.
Well, that competitive aspect's in a lot of them. I love that we're talking about the Saw franchise on a Big Hero 6 review.
Because they're better than Big Hero 6. Well, Big Hero 6
no, very, very different. Yeah, it's weird with this film because it's not one that has a particularly resounding impact on me. I guess to me, maybe it feels quite samey with a lot of other films. As I said, like a lot of other Pixar films and whatnot. Maybe the Marvel aspect as well, just that superhero structure. Maybe even the relationship, like with Baymax, like those robot movies. Like I've seen that in a lot of stuff. You know, hell, it's done in Terminator 2 with John Connor and the Terminator. You know, a human and a robot having that connection. It is a story. You know, even like E.T. as well in aspects with the whole Elliot and E.T. thing. It is a very tried and tested story model, I think, but when it's done well and done with heart, it is done well, and I think this is. But there's just something about it that doesn't have that Disney charm to it in the same way that a lot of the other ones do. But yeah, but a few of the comments. Oh, sorry, go on. Yeah.
No, continue. I was kind of agreeing.
We've got Michael Prophet who says, "Right now Disney is going crazy." Oh, that's a good phrase for it, certainly. And I heard they're making Shrek 5. Yeah, so Shrek 5's out next year, I think, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know how we've not got a trailer for it, or have we?
No trailer at the moment, just an announcement, I think.
Yeah, usually with animated movies, you'd get one before, so I don't know if I trust it's going to come out next year.
I'm pretty sure it is. Let's have a look.
Or
2026. 2026.
Yeah, I think, it sounds about right.
Oh, is there a teaser trailer out for it? Oh, maybe I missed that. Only 3 cast members. Well, we've got Shrek, Donkey, and Princess Fiona. All the original cast are back. I'm sure they've offered them a lot of money. July 1st, 2026.
They will offer, but do you know what? I guarantee Shrek's probably a fun movie to make.
Mm-hmm.
I just really hope like Mike Myers dies before it, so they can't make it.
Oh no! Don't say that.
I don't want him to die, but I want I just hope they just can't do it because it's just don't. Shrek was great.
They'd have AI now, wouldn't they? They just continue it anyway. They don't care.
No, what they should do is have Chris Rock replace Eddie Murphy. Just fuck with the cast. Just be like, it's going to be shit anyway.
It's like we already have Shrek at home, and you have Chris Rock as Donkey.
In a way, Madagascar was kind of like that. I mean, Madagascar was great, but in some ways it was kind of... No, that was the Wild to Madagascar.
Carl says, I have such mixed memories about Shrek 3 and 4. I'm sure they're the same film. Yeah, you're not half wrong. They're very, very close. I do remember Shrek 4 more than 3, but...
Isn't 4 supposed to be like Shrek's now like a celebrity and he wants to get back to just on his own and does he make a wish or some shit?
Yeah, he kind of goes back to being an ogre in the swamp, and then Princess Fiona's like an action heroine, like Shield Maiden, isn't she?
Of course she is. I know she's always been like that, to be fair, actually. It makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah. Anything else about... We haven't really talked about the villain in Big Hero 6, so I actually forgot the twist of this one. Yeah, what the villain in this?
Yeah,
well, it's yokai, but Callahan is the name of the guy. Yeah, I actually forgot the twist of this. Now, the whole time I was watching it, when the brother ran into the burning building to rescue Callahan, and it blew up, I thought the villain was his brother. That's how I remembered it in my head. I thought, well, his brother's not actually dead. He comes back and somehow he's the villain. And I was trying to come up with a motive in my head. I was like, is he jealous of his brother for coming up with the little miniature oid robot things? And then I was like, oh, okay. I was shocked that it was Callahan at the end. I like the concept of the villain. I like the superpower that he has using this technology to kind of navigate. I think they do a lot of creative things with it. It's almost like Green Lantern. It's like the only limit is your imagination. You can pretty much conjure anything you want. So I like how he's getting around the city and he's almost like surfing around the city on this wave of like nanotech kind of looking things, really. But as you know, as Disney villains go, I don't think he's particularly memorable. Again, I think it's still very much a villain problem with this
Do you know
film.
what? He's not memorable, but I do like the. I'm the same as you. I always call them Oids. I call them the Oid bots.
Yeah.
But fuck, what's the actual name now? It's the something bots, isn't it? The nanobots. That's it.
No, what do they call them in the film? I don't think it's
Yeah,
nanobots. What
nanobots.
is it? Microbots.
Oh,
Microbots is what they call them.
where did I come up with nanobots then? What's a nanobot? That's the thing.
I've just
That's
seen like nanotechnology in films where it's all like
yeah, but I swear a
you know,
nanobot
like,
is a thing in something else.
probably.
I swear it's going to be something really weird. That how do I know that? but anyway, the microbots they're them in themselves are memorable because I think they're quite cool. Because like you say, the only limit's like your imagination. It's very Green Lantern, and they were one of the coolest bosses in Kingdom Hearts 3. I really like the idea of them. I thought they were great as when because obviously they're sort of unlimited in a way, aren't they? Because they sort of like take over, and there's so many, and it's that whole. Because there's a scene, I think it's the first when they first realize there's been loads of them made. It kind of feels like that kind of underwater sort of like the water's catching up to them, they're going to drown kind of thing. I really like them, like fuck it, I keep saying it, don't I? But the microbots in themselves, I think, are great. It's got a villain problem in the sense of like the actual villain himself, maybe, but those as a character, I think, are great.
It feels very much like a Scooby-Doo moment to me at the end where they take the mask off and it's like, old man Callahan. And it's like, and I would have gotten away with it too. That being said, though, I do like that the villain has a motive. I like the whole aspect of his daughter went into this wormhole and that's why he has this is why he has beef with that kind of business guy because he blames him for the death of his daughter and he's doing all of this in an attempt to get her back. I don't know if it's because it's a twist again it's the villain twist at the end, isn't it? The good guy turning into the villain. I wonder if it's a little bit too late for the motive because it all comes at the end of the film. So it feels like, oh, well, he had a daughter that we've only just mentioned now, and it all feels a bit late in the game. So maybe that's why the villain doesn't have so much of an aspect to it. If we knew who the villain was all along, you would lose out on a big dramatic reveal at the end, but you'd perhaps have a little bit more time to develop him throughout the course of the film. I don't know how I feel about that because maybe that sort of masked, mysterious villain has that sort of like enigmatic quality to him, works for the film. I do quite like the look, the sort of like the Japanese inspired mask and, controlling all of these robots. I thought was quite interesting. But I mean, fucking hell, I'm going to forget Callahan by like next week. Yeah, he ain't no Jafar, is he? He ain't no Ursula, Gaston, literally anyone else. He's very much falls by the wayside as most modern Disney villains do. He's right there on the scrap heap next to Hans from Frozen and what the fuck's the name of the sheep villain from Zootopia? So
yeah. No, I don't. Who was the last good villain, really, though?
Mother Gothel. In terms of like a traditional Disney villain beginning to end, that's who I think the last one was.
My favorite actual last. Wait, when was Princess and the Frog? That was after, wasn't it?
Before, so that was 2009.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's a very traditional villain, but he doesn't, in the sense of the way he acts and looks, but he doesn't show up and do the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, if you were to just see the look of the character and the way he acts, he is great, and
he's very Jafar-esque, isn't he? I think.
Yeah,
really.
he's one of my favorite modern ones. But yeah, it's been a while. We need when are we next going to get one?
I'm waiting. What have we got next? We've got Moana 2. I'm not holding out much hope for a memorable villain from that. Frozen 3, shit. I mean, well, Frozen 2, does that even have a I don't even remember the villain from Frozen 2. Is there one? There probably is, but
I don't know. I don't think
Frozen's
so.
got a villain problem. I swear I'm calling that for Frozen 4. There's going to be like a fire one. to counteract the ice.
Yeah, but that's so obvious. Like, will it not happen by 3?
It'll be like Frozen 4, the meltdown. We'll cross it over with Ice Age or something.
Do you know it'll feel very like Inside Out. Like you've got a fiery one, and then it'll be like we're gonna have an electric one. They're gonna cross over with Kingdom Hearts and get like Larxene in there and have like an electric fucking like in the snow.
The villain will have like a Judge Frollo Hellfire song.
Do you know what? Like by that point, what are you gonna do? Like you're gonna get. I think by the time you get to like sequels, you got like 4. You're like, where can we go with this? What have we not done?
Yeah.
When you've got a set plan, sure, but when you haven't, you're like, oh, that's it. What do we do?
Just keep cranking them out as long as they make
it's
money.
It's like when people ask for sequels and like they really want them. Oh, the movie did really well. So yeah, but we killed off the main character. I don't know what you want us to do. It's a problem I feel like I'm going to find myself in because I like killing off main characters.
Yeah, you do.
So yeah.
Again, this is another Disney film where we can't do favorite song from it because there's exactly one. You get Eye of the Tiger there you go. That's my favorite song in the film. There's a small moment where Eye of the Tiger cues up.
You know, for a long time I thought Eye of the Tiger was by Queen when I was a kid.
What?
I don't know why, but when I was a kid, I thought it was Queen. I don't know why, but yeah.
Very, very strange. Is there a favorite? So you said favorite character. Is there a favorite scene you have from this film? Favorite moment?
With the fist and then Baymax stays in the portal, and
yeah,
that's a nice scene. That's fun. I think it's done very well.
What's he say? I'm getting it confused with the wild robot now. It's like, are you satisfied with your care? That's what he says in this film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because in the wild robot, they do a similar thing. It's like, have I been? How would you rate your assistance or something? You know, are you satisfied with my performance? They do the same thing in that a little bit. So I was getting the two confused, but yeah, it is in this one, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a good scene.
That's like the best emotional crux of the film. I do like the bit as well where Hero kind of snaps and he says like my brother's gone and Baymax says no, he's in here, and he plays that video clip. He's almost like a Teletubby with a little screen on his chest. I thought that was a sweet moment. In terms of comedy, it's quite slapsticky, but the bit with where he smuggles Baymax back and he's deflated and he's acting delirious and drunk, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that was cool. I did like that. That is a good scene. Like there are little good scenes from this. That's the thing. Quite a few that do well and you realize and it stands out. But yeah.
And Hero's aunt as well. Hero's aunt's just rocking that Pixar mom bod in this film.
Hero's got the kind of aunt where if it was in the In-Betweeners,
she would be Will's mom. Will's mom, agreed. Yeah. I've been watching the In-Betweeners again. Actually, I've gone through like all 3 seasons again recently. I just have it on in the background when I'm doing stuff.
And it always will.
Absolutely captured a generation with that. It's brilliant.
It holds up. It's great, and it stopped at the right time as well.
I think it could have stopped at the end of movie 1. Movie 2 has its moments.
Yeah,
but I like the happy ending of the first one.
I like the second movie. It did feel very like
the first one made money.
Yeah, it did feel like that. And we didn't need to do another one, but it was a good movie, and the fact they didn't do any more was good because that would have really just fucking milked a dead cow.
I think they have been in talks of doing a new one, haven't they? I think. Have I seen?
Yeah,
recently?
I've heard that, but I just don't see it because aren't they on like their 30s now?
Yeah, it'd be like the reunion or something, wouldn't it? I suppose.
But it just wouldn't make sense. But then I guess it made a lot of money, and they'll offer them like 2 million each, wouldn't they? So.
I mean, they are typecast for life with the In-Betweeners, aren't they?
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing.
No. I mean,
what is a bad thing is the ones that signed on to do the fucking American version and went, "Oh, this will be brilliant."
I saw some clips from that. That was abysmal.
I watched like I think the 2 episodes because I wanted to see what it was like, and bad.
Fucking bad. Really bad.
Did you see though? They did an American version of Only Fools and Horses.
No. Oh, what?
Yes. So they did an American version of Only Fools and Horses called, what was it called? Something of Van Nuys. I think it was like King of Van Nuys or something. And Grandad is played by, But what's his name from Back to the Future? Christopher Lloyd. There you go. I was going to say Christopher Lee.
What? Really?
Yeah, it is. It's played by Christopher Lloyd.
Well, now I kind of want to watch it.
It's just brilliant because it's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
They had a weird
Wow.
backstory to him as well that wasn't in the British version, which was kind of like, it's cool, but it's so different. And you're like,
Mm.
and the thing is, because it's so different, it's like, you know what? If you didn't base it so much on this, you could have had a cool series that lasted maybe a season. But because it was based on a British thing that didn't go anywhere, it did one pilot that never got aired, which is on YouTube.
I don't know why they always have to keep doing that. Like, just is it just because
Yeah.
Americans, you know? Well,
They don't
I
have
know
their
some
own
do.
ideas.
Well, it's just they don't understand our comedy. Is that it? And they just need
They
something.
don't have their own ideas because when you think about it, because it's like they were going to do an American version of Gavin and Stacey once, which I don't think ever got made at all. But they're always going to do American versions of stuff. Like hair metal came from glam rock. Like they went, let's do our own version. Let's just like heavy it up a bit. Now I'm not saying hair metal's not great, but what I'm saying is every idea they come up with comes from us. Not a single idea was their own. Everything came from us. You know, why are they white? Because we went over. That's why. Like that's the only thing. So nothing is theirs. They're all us.
We're all connected in the great circle of life. Right, let's finish this off. The final thoughts on Big Hero 6. I mean, you mentioned that you've watched this film to death before with one of your exes.
Yeah.
Is it exactly the same as you remember it? Is it just burned in your mind, or
it's the very same as I remember. It's a weird one to not to have an official opinion on, but like because I had to watch it so many times like years ago, and going back to it, I was like, yeah, it's not bad. It's weird because it's like I've watched it so many times that I think, yeah, it's just not bad. It holds up, like it's fun. I don't dislike it. It's not a Disney movie. Like I'll say again, it's not a Disney. It shouldn't be a Disney classic, but it's an all right movie. I think I just remember the first time I watched it, I wasn't that keen. No, it's just kind of grown on me.
For me, there is a weird disconnect with this film. I don't know whether I'm kind of resisting the fact that it's a Marvel, superhero property, and that Disney are doing this. So I don't know if that kind of takes me out immediately from the offset. I'm not keen on the screenplay. Like the screenplay just doesn't land with me. Like the humor and the style of humor in these characters. The only two characters I really care about in this film are Hero and Baymax. And I know that is the emotional crux of the film. And I think that whole angle with the brothers and the death of one brother and him finding comfort and guidance and friendship and almost family really with Big Hero 6 with Baymax really works. That is the strength of this movie. Gorgeous visuals in there. I really do like the animation style, the flight sequence and the ending. Its heart's in the right place, and it does tug on the heartstrings and play in those traditional story tropes that maybe I have seen to death. Maybe I have seen them too many times, but yeah, I won't be rushing back to this one. But next week's one, I already know that I like. I actually haven't seen it in a long time. I have watched it a few times, but not very recently. Number 54, which is Zootropolis, Zootopia, whatever you want to call it, whatever the title was, wherever it
Didn't it
came
make
out
over
for you.
$1 billion as well?
It did, surprisingly. I have to keep reminding myself of that fact that it did. I know it was good, but this really, really
You don't
fucking
hear
landed
anything
with
about
everyone.
it anymore, though, do you?
No, no one talks about it. I mean, we've got one coming out next year, Zootopia 2. But yeah, no one talks about this one now, which always surprised me. Frozen, you still see that everywhere. Moana, you kind of still see that everywhere. But yeah, this sort of like came and went, and then I was like, oh shit, it made well over $1 billion. Wow. But I do love this film, so I can't wait to go back to this one. This is going to be, yeah.
I've got one question though. It's not related to that, but on Halloween, like
Yes.
kids dress up as stuff, right? Is it me, or nowadays do kids not dress up as scary things anymore? They just dress up. Like when we were kids, everyone was trying to like dress up as scarier things, outdo each other. I had a scream mask where like you press like the thing and have
the
all the
heart
blood
and the blood. Yeah, me too.
But like it was like when I was a kid, Halloween was supposed to be scary. Now it's just about dressing up as Elsa and shit like that.
Yeah.
Is that me or is it changed?
I think it's a mix. I only remember people dressing as scary things when I was growing up, but you still get that occasionally with some people. I saw a kid dressed
You
as
you do,
a Jack
but
Skellington and stuff on the
you do,
drive
but
back from work.
I feel like more now everyone just dresses up as what they feel like they like. Oh, we'll just dress up as something.
A character that they like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
For me, whenever I dress up for Halloween, I always want to kind of keep it ghostly or macabre related. Like Eddie Munson's Stranger Things, it has horror aspects to it. Or I did Shaggy from Scooby Doo at one point. I'm like, well, that's to
What
do
you
with
should do
ghosts and
is like next year, cut off your ear and go as Van Gogh. Just like do the whole thing, go proper into character, be
that'd
like
be
I'm a
method.
method actor.
Yeah, that's method acting right there.
Yeah.
And then I'd be playing Van Gogh for like forever, or Van Gogh if
Exactly.
you're American.
Yeah, I never know what's called him. Van Gogh or Van Gogh, I don't know. I think I mix it up every now and then. I'll depending how I'm feeling.
But yeah, that'll do it for our review on Big Hero 6. As I said, we've gone over an hour. We've gone like half hour longer than I expected, but we have been talking about a lot of other stuff as well. It's fine. But I want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you thought of Big Hero 6. Is it one of your favorites? Is it one you go back to? Let us know. And please do consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews, discussions, and live streams. I actually don't know what the next video is going to be. I'm pretty sure we're going to get another trailer for The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, probably at some point this week, maybe. And when that drops, I'll be on with Everything in Middle-earth to give you our thoughts on that. But until then, we'll have another Disney review out next week, Zootopia, and I still need to get on that unboxing video that I keep alluding to. So maybe that'll
And
be the
Wicked
next
comes
video.
out Friday, doesn't it?
Wicked does come out Friday. I must admit, I don't have a ticket for that. I wasn't planning on seeing that. Don't make me go and see Wicked, please. Dude, I got like 4 trailers for that today. 4 different variations of trailers before the Wild Robot started.
They're heavily trying to promote that shit, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and it's going to make a shit ton of money.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sad because Ariana Grande's in it and it's the best thing ever. But why did they not? I mean, because we're 85 years since The Wizard of Oz. If it was me personally as a thing, wouldn't you look at it and go, let's do it on the 100-year mark? Like,
well, to be honest, I'm surprised they haven't done it much sooner. I mean, Wicked's been hot shit in like the musicals and in the UK and worldwide. Everyone's been talking about Frozen. I'm surprised it's taken them this long to get a film together for it.
Yeah. But, this is true. I would have waited to 100 if it was me, though. I'd be like, but we've only got another 15 years to wait. But Ariana Grande, so
I mean, we could go back and watch the original Wizard of Oz. That would be the straightest thing that me and you could possibly do is watch the Wizard of Oz together.
Wizard of Oz is great, and it holds up just 'cause it's creepy. It's great.
Wizard of Oz is an all-time classic, timeless classic.
Remember the set pieces? How the background was just like it was very like Alice, like Wonderland in Kingdom Hearts 1. How everything was like a background.
It's like a map painting. Yeah, no, I love that shit though.
It was great.
Return to Oz for me is that creepy 80s fantasy movie.
That was so good though. That was so good.
That's like the American McGee's Alice equivalent of Wizard of Oz, which they're actually doing, aren't they? What was that game? That really difficult Pinocchio game that came out, and the next one's going to be Wizard of... they're doing Wizard of Oz, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, they are, and it's great. But I hate games like that just because it's so hard to the point where I've like been fighting a boss for over an hour. I'm like, you know what? I don't care that much, and I just stop. I'm like, and it got it's just so I never completed it. But at the end when they were like, there was Dorothy shows up. I'm like, okay, this could be a cool shared universe. Just please do one thing for me and make give it a difficulty setting so I'm not spending 2 hours on one boss because I got a life, I got to do things. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I guess if Wicked's coming out, I was trying to think what would be the ultimate marathon. So you'd have to do the original Wizard of Oz movie, you'd have to do Return to Oz, and then I forgot there was the Sam Raimi movie, Oz the Great and Powerful, with James Franco and Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
You'd have to do that. I haven't seen that movie, actually, and then you'd have to do Wicked Part 1.
Yeah, but you got Part 2 next year, so you have to wait.
It's weird that they haven't called it Part 1, though, isn't it?
That's what I thought. Yeah,
I haven't seen that in the advertisement at all for it.
Yeah, it doesn't say Part 1 because the only reason I know it's only Part 1 is because I've looked at the thing and it says it's going to be in 2 parts. But if you haven't, it just looks like one movie. Yeah, weird.
And they're not going to call it Wicked 2. It'll be, but then it's weird if it's Wicked and then Wicked Part 2. You always got to have, Harry
Yeah.
Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 1, Part 2, Mockingjay 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Although it's kind of like Mission Impossible. That's funny. So the final 2 Mission Impossible films. So the last one was that came out, number 7. Was called Dead Reckoning Part 1, which was going to be concluded a year later with Dead Reckoning Part 2. I think it was been delayed because of like the strikes and whatnot. So we've got the next one coming out next year. But because that one didn't do great, it didn't make anywhere close to the amount of money they thought it would. They thought by changing the name, they've got a shot of this one making more money, thinking that it's not connected to that previous one. So this one's just called Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, or The Final Reckoning. So we've got Dead Reckoning Part 1, and then they haven't continued that title, and now it's The Final Reckoning. It's so strange.
Yeah.
But isn't Dead Reckoning sounds pretty final. Just, it's Dead Reckoning. But then we're calling it The Final Reckoning. Isn't that basically just calling it the same title twice?
Yeah. I wish there was consistency to some of these things, but there's not.
No, see, if I fuck with people completely. I'd have like the second movie be called number 3, and I'd have it with like an actual number 3, and then the next one would be like 4 in Roman numerals, and then I'd go back to 2. I just fuck up the whole numeric order. Why not?
So people get really confused.
Yeah. There's like, oh, I love the second one. Oh, is that the third one? Oh no, is that the fourth? Yeah, just completely.
Isn't that what they did when they called Empire Strikes Back Episode 5, and everyone was like, eh?
I can't even imagine what people must have been thinking when that came out.
Yeah, they're going, crap.
Oh, hang on.
Have I been asleep?
I always thought that was a special edition change after everything was done, but nah, that was putting Episode 4 into the title, A New Hope, was a special edition change. But yeah, no, Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, that was
straight out,
very,
off the bat,
very weird. Yeah.
People going, what the fuck was that? Was I in a coma?
Anyway, we'll round this one up here. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you on the next Disney review. Zootopia, Metropolis. See you next week.